Hi, everyone. I am joined here with a special guest, a friend of mine. Hi, PB.
Hi, Revealing. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm lovely. I'm a very dear friend. And I'm very, very happy to be here. I've been a follower since inception, pretty much. So very proud, very happy to be a part of your latest video.
I only started this because of you.
That's
Because
very to say.
when you and I met, we were going through something incredibly difficult.
Yes.
And in that difficult time, the only thing I could watch was about Harry and Meghan. And I could only watch YouTube videos about them because I knew they were ridiculous and I knew Meghan was a malignant narcissist, allegedly, and in my opinion. And I would come to you and I would be like, she's a malignant narcissist. And you'd be like, but how do you know? And I'm like,
Yes.
I know. So you'd
Yes.
ask me to send you video clips and I would send you clips, but they really, you know, I I've been really good at generating clips that are like 10, 15, 20 seconds long, and the clips I would send you would be 15 minutes or 30 minutes,
Yes.
and you wanted like nitty-gritty, show me exactly what she does. Um, and that's how this all started because you're like, "Make it. You need to make a YouTube channel or an X or whatever account to so that I could just scroll and I could see the ridiculous Megan behavior."
Correct. Because also you were very well versed and still are at the definition of a narcissist and then add on to that a malignant narcissist, and I wasn't. And remember, I would say, it'd be really great if maybe you could also do like an educational series, right? Or something like, hey, what is a narcissist? How to spot a narcissist, things like that, because I didn't know what that was really. And so when you did the videos and as you're going through them, especially, my brain, I have three hamsters in my brain, right? And all three of them don't always go in the same direction at the same time. So my attention span, I can kind of go like 5 to 10 minutes. And those videos were great because that's exactly what I could do. And I could hear your voice, and your voice is soothing. And it would, it's like, okay, this is good. And it would help me go to sleep at night. So it was really, really good. Like it was very soothing, and they still are. But yes, those video, I mean, this is amazing what you've done. So, and when I was watching your videos versus you sending me videos that other people have made of Megan, it wasn't registering what you were saying about her, from a narcissism perspective. But when you made your own videos and you're walking people through them, and then, you're like rewinding, okay, watch this again. That's super helpful. So this has been amazing to see you do this. And oh my gosh, like literally watch the channel from a baby to now, and you're just going to keep growing. So I think this is awesome.
It's been a wild ride, like, for
For
sure,
sure.
and I did not expect it to get to where it is, and, like, on top of all of that, I love creating the content, I love studying it, and, I, um I recently did major spring cleaning of my home. Like,
Yes.
I got rid of, I don't know, 50% of my stuff, basically. I mean, I didn't get rid of it, it got donated and whatever else, right?
Correct.
So, I was talking to another friend of mine, and that friend was saying that usually when someone has a hard time letting go of material things, that might be some type of trauma response. And that got me thinking, maybe maybe this channel has helped me heal a little bit because
Yes.
I was able to say these material items, they no longer serve me. I don't need to keep this just to keep it. And
Correct.
so, yeah, so like not only has this channel been entertaining and fun and great for me to do, but I really feel it's helped me look back on the things I've experienced and understand them. And by understanding them, there's this, logic that comes with it that, like, when I was a child, what happened to me wasn't my fault. There was nothing I could have done that could have changed the way that I was treated by,
Right.
in particular, my malignant narcissist stepmom. So, anyways, I thought we could go through a really fun article that was just published in the Daily Mail. And
Cool.
it's one of those that is an exclusive. It was literally like just published. It's May 18th today, right? Yeah. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Guess what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is Harry and Meghan's wedding anniversary.
Okay, I'm shocked, okay, that I even could think that that was it, because in my mind, I thought they were married around May 18th, but it was May 19th.
I'm pretty sure it's May 19th.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, can you imagine if you are wrong and I'm right? Hold on.
We gotta check.
Yes.
We gotta
Hold
check.
on. I'm shocked you don't know this. Like, I'm so shocked. Oh, it's May 19th. You're right. Of course. Like, okay, of course. That's good. You should be right on this. So it is
Okay,
tomorrow.
phew.
So what are you going to do to celebrate their anniversary?
I'm gonna be on Instagram waiting to see what Meghan is posting.
Fair. Okay, valid. All right. Sounds good.
I'm gonna watch how Meghan is gonna celebrate this anniversary. So
Oh, her IG is interesting.
it's wild. Yeah,
Yes.
it's hard to watch, honestly. I used to, she would post something and I would post about it, but she's just so predictable in her posts that it's boring. And I don't want to do boring. I want to post things and with things that are exciting and teachable moments. But when she's walking around a garden and smelling flowers, like, girl,
Right.
I don't care.
Right. And also, I mean, turn the comments on, like give us something. But there's not even you can't even post, but maybe that's what it is. She knows that, you know, sniffing flowers is boring. Who's going to comment on it anyway? So maybe she just turned off the comments for that reason.
I mean, this is part of being a narcissist. She doesn't want to be contradicted. She doesn't even want to hear you. If you say
Yep.
something that she doesn't want to hear it. So actually, this immediately reminded me of when Meghan first started dating Harry. She went to one of her agents, who later became one of her good friends, Gina Nelthorpe Cowan, and
Okay.
was telling her about her experience with Harry. Gina responded as a friend with empathy, trying to warn Meghan. She said, "Have you any idea what you're doing?" Harry, she explained, was clearly thinking about marriage. And I'm reading from Tom Bower's Revenge. Do you
Got
realize
it. Good
you
to know.
Yeah, do you realize you won't be able to make any more movies? Royal duties will be your life. Meghan snapped, "Gina, save it." So literally, it's the same thing Meghan does with her comment section. She's basically telling us, Instagram users, save it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know about your criticism. The only thing you can do is like my post. Just hit that heart. I don't want to hear anything else you have to say.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So it's Meghan's character, basically. We see it. If she can control, what people are saying about her, how she's being perceived, she's going to do it. So yeah. So going back to this article, this was just published, and it's another example of Meghan bullying people. In this particular article, it's about how she berated a caterer so badly that,
Aw.
yeah, that the late queen intervened. So let's get into that article. It starts off describing about how some brides, they remain calm, but Meghan, I mean, it's basically saying Meghan was Bridezilla. And you know what? I bet you that's why this article is coming out today, because of the anniversary being tomorrow.
Oh, that's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. So in this article, it talks about how Meghan treated Catherine, Princess of Wales, and how she bullied Princess Charlotte, allegedly. That's a topic for another time. And it says that in her new book, The New Royals,
Hmm.
Nicole wrote, on one occasion in the run up to the wedding, Meghan went to Windsor Castle for a menu tasting and ended up having a tense exchange with a member of staff, according to one source. Meghan was at the castle to taste some of the dishes and told one of the caterers she could taste eggs, said the source. She got quite upset, saying that the dish was meant to be vegan and macrobiotic. The bride to be's direct approach with the staff member allegedly came to the attention of Queen Elizabeth II, who was known for treating aides like family, even buying them Christmas presents every year. So it is no surprise that Her Majesty had some stern words of advice from Meghan, according to Nichols' inside source. So this is just wild to me because, we think of the queen as her grandmother in law, right? But I
Yep.
think when you marry into the royal family, yes, they are your family, but in a way, it's going to be your profession. This is like the CEO of a company skipping what 4 levels and
Right.
coming to you and being like, "Don't talk like that to people." It's not
Correct.
how embarrassing.
Really embarrassing. Yes.
It's wild. I wonder why she was so like, what is this vegan thing? Maybe, you know, I wonder if this was because she invited a lot of Hollywood guests to her wedding, people
Right.
she
Maybe
didn't
it
even
wasn't
know.
for her, right? Maybe it was for guests, maybe, dietary restrictions.
She wanted to look like, she was one of the people maybe, like, "I understand your diet restrictions," or whatever. Yeah. So the
That's
article
so rude.
she is completely rude. She is completely rude. So the article continues and says, "Suddenly the queen walked in and said, 'Meghan, in this family, we don't speak to people like that.' This would not be the last time Meghan's treatment of staff would come to the attention of the queen." And actually, recently, there was another article that came out about how Meghan was rude to a gardener. So much so that the head gardener in Windsor complained to the late queen, who then also gave Meghan a dressing down. So we're seeing that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Meghan was told, "Don't treat people like that,"
Yes.
multiple times. So, all this talk, and I mean, you and I have talked about it, right? Like,
Yes.
you know, how do you know that Meghan bullied people? How do you know that they gave her so many opportunities? And this is just one example. Like, how many times do you have to tell someone, "Don't be nasty to people"? And, people and they still smile and they throw you a 30 million pound wedding or however much the wedding cost.
Yeah. And this is one thing about her that actually I am fascinated with, and I wish some of the ex-employees, would come out, because out of all of the things that she's accused of, right, and the rumors and her behaviors and mannerisms and things like that, for me, it's a very, very big deal how people treat their employees, because at the end of the day, everyone, or mostly everyone, has to work to earn a wage, right? We have to live, we have expenses. And it's a big, big deal for me when employees are treated like garbage or less than, and disrespected. So when all these articles and things started coming out about her when they were living in the UK, it was very much for me. I'm like, okay, wait, so is this true? Who's putting these articles out? Is there a way to actually somehow, you know, to get one of these or some of these employees out, like make statements, do an interview, I don't know, something, because there was just so many coming out, right? It wasn't one or two, it was multiple about how she's mistreating staff.
And it didn't start in the UK. I mean, we have reports as early as 2015 in Canada when Meghan was working with a clothing company called Reitmans. I'm going to read you snippets about her campaign with Reitmans. So, Reitmans is Canada's largest women's clothing retailer. It's a 90-year-old business and
Okay.
it offers inexpensive clothes to about 700 stores. And Meghan herself, she was hoping that she would be the face of Ralph Lauren and not Reitman. So she was already not very happy. Yeah, not very
That's
happy
funny.
to be doing this. Yeah.
Wow.
And they paid her a lot of money.
Do you know how much?
Yes, I do. For 9 days' work, filming the commercial, the photo shoots, the launch, and TV promotion, she was paid $162,000 plus 7% royalties on the sale of all products.
Oh, wow.
And for the first campaign, filming started on August 6th, and the list of demands preceded her. It says she requested in her room and on location green juices, vegetables, high end bottled water. Evian
Huh.
and Fiji were rejected in favor of a designer brand. She
Like, who are you, girl? You're on Suits. Like, be humble, you know? I just find that really pretentious, if that's the right word.
Oh, she's definitely, yeah.
Entitled, all of that, you know?
All of that. And then it says the 2 day shoot went well, but ended on a sour note. The car to take her back to the airport was not booked. Meghan exploded, but she made her flight. The campaign, TV commercials, billboards, and social media was estimated to have increased Reitman's sales by over 15%. So even though in the very first campaign she was absolutely nasty, she exploded about something that really had no consequence. She still made the flight.
Mm-hmm.
It increased Reitman's sales. So they invited her back the following year, and her behavior, oh my goodness, was even worse.
Wow.
Okay, so let's talk about the money for the second campaign.
Sure.
The contract for 8 days' work paid Meghan $202,000 plus 7% royalties.
So she got paid more, right? The
She
following
got
year.
paid more. Yeah. Can someone hire me for 8 days and pay me $200,000?
Right.
I'll be nice to everyone.
Well, and I guess like my thought on that though is, okay, and this is me just my mind. This is how my mind works, right? There are these reports coming out, right? That she was really difficult to work with. Yet they brought her back the next year, which makes me believe that perhaps she had a 2-year agreement at least, because I can't imagine her being a pain and then they would, after the fact of finding that out, sign her again. Right? Like her Netflix deal, right? You know how it's like, oh, it's a 2-season contract kind of thing. Um, Maybe that's what that was.
Well, it did say that the first campaign, it increased Reitman's sales by 15%.
Okay.
So that, money talks. And she wasn't that as bad in that first year versus the second year. In the
Oh,
second
got
year,
it.
yeah, in the second year, she yelled at them about what the commercial was going to be because in the commercial, Meghan, I think, is dancing with a gentleman, and the man is trying to figure out what the tag on her dress says. And because it looks like it's expensive, the goal of the commercial is basically, it looks expensive, but it's actually Reitman's. It's very affordable.
Gotcha.
So Megan exploded on them and said, seriously, this doesn't make sense. I'm a brash American, and if my name is going to be on something, I'm going to have my say. And then later in Tom Bauer's book, a couple of sentences below, it says, Megan offered no worthwhile alternative ideas other than suggesting that a Caribbean location with a Hollywood budget would be better.
Oh my gosh, of course. Of course it would be. Why wouldn't it be?
She's too much.
Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
So this had to have been her agent at the time, right? Getting her this deal with them where it sounded like she wanted to be working with Ralph Lauren that clearly was a no, and then so she went with this instead.
Yeah, I mean, I think the agent, her last name was Sale, Sale. Um, but again, I don't know the exact details about that.
No problem. No problem. It's
Okay,
just
and
sorry,
then
my brain asking questions.
no, that's okay. If anyone in the comments knows or is watching this, please drop it in the comments. But okay, so then later on it says, um, to prove her importance, so To prove her
What?
importance, wait till you hear this. To prove her importance, she demanded additional special treatment. Unhappy that her executive suit for 1,531 Canadian dollars per night was only a master bedroom, living room, and powder room, Meghan demanded that the agency reserve a bigger suite at the more expensive Galt Hotel. She insists, said her agent, she wants photographs of the hotel rooms and the rooms assigned to her on set. Next, Meghan demanded that she be registered in the hotel under an alias, Jane Smith. Her identity must be kept secret, said her agent. Yes, it says Lori Sale. That was her agent.
Okay, got it.
And then it says Meghan doesn't want to be hassled by the hotel staff, other guests, or photographers. The production team was flummoxed. No one in French speaking Montreal knew Meghan.
I love that word, flummoxed. Is that the word that was used?
Yes, yes.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse. Like
Sure.
there is so much to talk about in especially that second Reitmans campaign. She made a woman cry on set and she demanded that there was this pair of Aquazzura shoes for her to wear during that filming. It was absolutely necessary to be part of the wardrobe. Well,
Okay.
guess what?
What?
She left on the final day of production and took the shoes with her, allegedly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. And allegedly, well, the book describes that they were beige suede Aquazzura shoes. And Meghan, in her engagement interview with Harry, wore beige suede Aquazzura shoes. Now, whether or not these are the same beige suede Aquazzura shoes, I don't know, but just throwing that out there.
Interesting. Thank you. Wow.
There is so much to be said about Meghan's bullying behavior. So this was a long segue, going back into the history of Meghan behaving this way as early as 2015. I'm sure this is behavior that even preceded that. But so we've heard of Meghan doing this in three different contexts and three different countries. She did it in Canada. She did it in the UK. There's allegations of her doing it here in the States.
Yep.
In Canada, she was an actress, filming advertisements or on the set of Suits. In UK, she was a member of the royal family, and then in the US, she's what a CEO, influencer,
Yeah.
an activist. I don't know, whatever
All
she
the
is.
titles she gives herself on her podcast and everything else. Yes.
Yeah, she's a podcaster. Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a long history of Meghan behaving in this way. And actually, one of the biggest examples of this,
Mm-hmm.
well, before we get into there, this is telling too. It says during her time as a working royal, Meghan developed somewhat of a reputation for being rude to staff, so much so that there is talk of a Sussex Survivors Club.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Yes. Yes. So
Gosh.
people identify as, we worked for the Sussexes and we survived it. It
Oh,
says
gosh.
I know, it says former staff members were alleged to have post traumatic stress disorder defined by the NHS as an anxiety disorder caused by very distressing or frightening events.
I
It's
wish somehow
wild.
one of these Sussex survivors from this club would reach out to you. I really do. It's my wish, you know? If you're
If you're
out
out,
there, if you're listening, if you're tuned in, please, please reach out to Revealing. She
we will protect your
Yes.
anonymity.
Always,
Promise.
always. Yes, she's the best. Talk to her in confidence. Please. Anyway, I had to put that out there. Sorry.
And we do have some specifics. And one of those is this woman, Melissa Tubati. She worked for Meghan, and the article here is trying to show that this is a professional person. She worked for Robbie Williams. She worked for Robbie Williams' wife, and she played a pivotal role in the success of the royal wedding. So
Sure.
this is being said here to show this is not someone who is unprofessional, who is an intern that just came out of nowhere, right? But in it says here in the book Battle of Brothers, this same incident is actually also described in Tom Bower's Revenge. It said that Megan allegedly asked Tubati to order some personally embroidered red blankets for the guests at a Sandringham shooting party that she was hosting for a group of Harry's friends. And she exploded on Melissa because when the blankets arrived, they were not the right shade of red. And by several accounts, in quotations, it says the Duchess went mental.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah. And as a result, the hugely talented Tubati resigned 6 months after the wedding day.
Oh gosh.
The article continues and says that in 2018, the Duchess of Sussex was subjected to an internal investigation after her communications secretary, Jason Knopf, wrote to Prince William's private secretary, Simon Case, in an email which was later leaked to the media. In it, he detailed Meghan's allegedly totally unacceptable treatment of staff. Knopf said, I am very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully two PAs out of the household in the past year, he wrote. The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights. Scary.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, when there's smoke, there's fire.
Yep.
And, this has happened many times over the day. How many allegations have come out over the last decade of Meghan treating people this way? One of the ones that I felt has been the most under the radar
Yep.
is when Meghan and Harry went to Australia. Allegedly, Meghan threw hot tea at someone. Allegedly.
Right.
And yeah,
Wow.
and this person was somehow allegedly given money and has stayed silent. So when Meghan comes out and says, the palace never protected me, yes, they did. They kept these stories from coming out. And the palace did an investigation of Meghan's bullying behavior. There's enough evidence, I think, from us as outsiders that these things did occur. But guess what? The palace has not released these findings.
I
So when
wonder if
Meghan's,
they ever will.
I mean, maybe when William's on the throne.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Perhaps. Perhaps.
So happy anniversary, Harry and Meghan.
It's been what? This is going to be their seventh? They were married in what, 2018?
Yeah, don't they say there's a 7-year itch or something that usually after the
Yes.
seventh year?
Yes.
What does that mean, the 7-year itch?
I think, and again, I'm guessing here. I've never been married, luckily. So I think it's just 7 years. You kind of maybe you get bored, you start looking around for something else. I think the itch refers to, gosh, it's been 7 years. This is boring. I don't know if this makes me happy. Um, maybe the itch to be with somebody else, maybe the itch to get out of the marriage. Not really sure.
I would have to say between Harry and Meghan, for Harry, I don't think there's been a moment of boredom. But
Yes,
Meghan, I think, is probably like, "Ugh, seriously, this guy again."
I know, right? I feel like and I know you, believe that, right? That's how she feels about him. But yeah, it's been 7 years of a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, and it just gets worse, I feel.
Yes,
Yeah.
it really does. It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, PB, thank you so much for joining me here. I'm glad we were able to talk about this, and I went on a bunch of tangents, but there's just so much to explore on this topic of Megan mistreating people that she views as beneath her, and that's the important thing. She views them as
Yes.
beneath her.
Yes. And again, I have to add, if there's anyone listening, anybody, and Meghan Markle has mistreated you, disrespected you, please reach out to Revealing the North. She will make sure you remain anonymous. But, I think it would be really great to get your experiences out there because people need to know. And will just add, you never know, maybe someone who worked on her Netflix series, right? Um, maybe something will pop out there towards you, but I mean, I think you're very professional. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on here. And, you handle yourself very professionally, very ethically while still like having a lot of fun. So I appreciate you having me on and I hope to be back on again soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.